Both matches that seem to start at 7 o'clock have gone to a game number 3, with the one that we are bringing to you live from the Shanghai Super Brand Mall Arena is a very close middle of the table clash. Both BLG as well as Jingdong Gaming are currently 6-6, fighting for that final cross-conference point. And it's an important point for them to pick up, because for BLG, that ties them with Team WE. For Jingdong Gaming, that would tie them with Suning Gaming.
Yeah, it does put them over, and Jingdong Gaming has been the one that we've been looking in the Eastern Conference that we think is more of a potential playoff team rather than Suning. They do have cleaner team fights, and on 8.4, they've really paved the way for that Galio and mid-rotation type of play style.
And we haven't seen the Galio being picked up, but we saw the Karma being picked up in that last match. In both Game 1 and Game number 2, Jingdong were in the driving seat the entire way. I mean, we saw the early aggression coming out from Clid. They looked very strong in the early game. They shut BLG down relatively easily. But Game 1, it was just BLG finding that one miracle play to stall it out, hold on to the match. And even then, they weren't able to clean it up quite well. It came down to a final 2-on-2 at the Nexus that decided the match, a final dragon fight, which actually JDG picked up. So the question really is going to be, what do BLG have to do? Because if they're going to try and stall out to late game, they need a way to do that.
That is the good question. That's why they're the platypus. If you think about the ways that people really... Okay. Let me explain this. The way a team wins games, there's usually 3 ways. You either team fight, you split push, or you win early. That's basically 3, okay? You catch early. They don't do the catch thing. They team fight late game, but they don't have a hyper carry in the AD. They don't give their AD enough gold to really make that happen. And they don't split push. So BLG, they have this kind of a... It's very hard to really see their... They don't have a clear-cut win condition. But what I think they can do is, in the series so far, they have been the better defensive team.
Okay.
They've been able to stall, yeah.
And how have they been able to stall? Because Game 2, there was no chance for them to do just that.
Well, I would say it was mainly because the lane was too far behind at that point for them to do anything. The split push was going to pull them apart for that. But they were able to defend against Jingdong for quite a long while until the bot lane really got the solo kill rolling.
Well, after that, Jingdong were able to be aggressive in Game 1 and Game 2. Only Game 1, BLG were able to stall out. So, Clement, going into Game number 3, who takes this one and why?
I have to give the edge to Jingdong. I feel like Jingdong have made the better plays, been the more aggressive team. So, and I just think they fit 8.4 much better. For BLG, the way I see them winning this is really stabilizing their lanes and picking something that's very good late game. Tons of wave clear, maybe the Caitlyn, and just stall out.
Oh, you heard it here first. Clement thinks Jingdong's going to pick up the matchup here. He hates anime streaming sites like Bilibili Gamer. Let's send over towards Pulse, who actually likes them.
I feel like you're putting words in Clement's mouth right there. I feel like those are maybe your thoughts, Fish, which means that we're going to have some words as broadcast today. However, we are here to talk about Bilibili Gaming and JD Gaming. Now, for us, do you think that JD are going to pick up this game? That seems what the Alistair seems to think.
I'm an unbiased caster. I don't think I'm allowed.
No, it's different between saying, I think this team's going to win versus, I want this team to win.
I definitely think that JD are going to win. I agree with Clement's assessment. I think that nothing short of an Azir Caitlyn composition from BLG would be able to stall out long enough now that JD seem to have figured out the blueprint about BLG, which frankly the rest of the league has as well. Is you just blitz them in the early game. They cannot keep up. They are notoriously bad in the early game. Longest average game time in the LPL, so we'll see if they get hit, if they get sacked in the back line.
Just don't give them a chance to team fight, because then you're on equal ground and then you could actually lose the game. Just blitz them in the early game. That is the recipe.
Triple ban against AJ.
It is indeed. Just nuke Amazing J. We're going to take a look at the bans from BLG as well. Going to be Olaf and Galio from them. Now to decide, as you said, triple ban of Vladimir, Camille, and Sion towards Amazing J. And then the final ban from BLG. What's it going to be? 5 seconds left. It's an Alistair, again, towards Mount.
Okay, so the Azir is still left open. We've seen a pretty high priority on it throughout the series. It is going to be the immediate lock-in, so you're out. Going back to that champion didn't work in game number 1, but it does mean that BLG don't have one of those answers to go late game. The scary thing is it means that JD might be nervous about throwing away the series. These points really matter. They're not in playoff position just yet. They need to win here. It's going to be one of the easiest wins available to them before they go back inside their terrifying East is Beast conference. And so maybe you know, it sets in. Go for a late game comp. Don't throw away a series of free points on trying to make early game crazy plays and just try to outscale them. But I feel like that's terrifying against BLG.
Yeah, I mean, as nice as it is that your conference is doing well, also means that you also have to step up the same time, especially in matches against people who are around you in the opposing group of the Western Conference. So, JD, as you said, first pick of Azir. It will be the Xayah, though, from BLG. And despite no Rakan ban, they're going to lock in the Talia here instead of prioritizing Rhodes Rakan. So they will get Athena's pick very early.
And already we're starting to see pretty much the exact same composition or makeup of the game #1 composition from BLG. Of course, they won't have the Sion available this time around, but Xayah and Talia were big core parts of that comp. We showcased how well Athena was able to lock off towers, lock off Barons, and create great opportunities for BLG in the mid game with his ultimate.
That's all about the mid-game. They need a way to get to the mid-game, so I'm looking towards something that can maybe bridge them towards that area, though it will be a Skarner from JD Gaming here from Clid. We are looking towards Yao to lock us in a pick as well for JD Gaming.
Grabbing a very early Gnar rotation. Again, when you have a triple ban against top laner, you're pretty much forcing AJ to grab his top laner here, unless he wants to go through secondary ban phase and lose even more valuable picks. But a lot of aggression, again, a lot of big 5v5 potential coming out of JD's composition. I'm getting a bit scared because I'm not seeing that bridging champion that I want to dominate the early game, especially when BLG already have access to Xayah, because she pretty much commands or has push priority in a lot of matchups.
And BLG, it looks like they are going to move away from the top lane here and getting Amazing J something now before more bans get thrown at him, as the Rakan is picked up for the bottom lane here as well for BLG. So they have the Lovers duo, but it's more about this top side that I'm worried about right now, as BLG are looking towards their ban against JD Gaming.
Yeah, how far are we going to go down the rabbit hole? They also haven't picked up their jungler, so for BLG, it's a pretty easy statement that they're going to take away the Leona, the counter to the Xayah, and the Rakan, and probably also throw a ban. I mean, they could continue to pinch the support pool because they've already invested so much into it, or you could just throw a ban at the AD carry and say, like, you're never going to scale with us, you know, like Caitlyn, you're gone, Varus, or Kog'Maw, you're gone, something like that. I doubt it'll be Kog'Maw, probably Caitlyn.
I really actually just love this Gnar pickup this early on, plus the triple ban coming out from JD Gaming, because it puts BLG and specifically Amazing J kind of in this skewer situation where it's just like, well, you can pick the Gangplank here on first rotation, but if you do, then Gnar's going to do well into it, and then we have another winning top side, or you don't, and then we just ban a Gangplank, and then we actually just ban another top laner, and then Amazing J, you have to dig deep into a champion pool. Like, what have you got left at that point?
It also shows who BLG are prioritizing in the draft. The fact that Road on Rakan of all champions was prioritized so highly. BLG, all of their success comes from their top laner, not necessarily winning the lane matchup, but at least having that impact in these late game team fights. I think he's going to have to reach for Maokai here.
He'll have to do, yeah, he might actually just have to go for a super standard tank like Maokai, maybe even just go for like a Malphite or something, or even he could go for, no, he couldn't. He probably won't. Like, he could go for something like a Rumble and try and challenge the Gnar in a 1v1, because that is a matchup that works. It's just volatile. However, Ornn, a champion we've got that has been left open, will be locked into the top lane. So Ornn does fine, but Gnar will do well.
And again, it's just a, he had to reach pretty deep down into his champion pool to find something that was going to work for him. He's not known as a great Ornn player. He's played it a couple of times to kind of mix success, but BLG themselves have had kind of overall mixed success. And it doesn't have the greatest matchup since 8.4. You know, Gnar was kind of seen as the soft answer to Ornn. He was overtuned at that point. You couldn't get him out of the lane, but there's still, you know, the threat of kill pressure of Gnar versus AJ up there.
Yeah, it's now even more than just the soft answer as well, because of so many things that have been taken away from Ornn's kit, including the fact he's not unstoppable during his little charge. Means that he won't be able to dodge out of like Gnar's ultimate, for example, or any of the displacements. So it is definitely a weaker matchup now, as the Kog'Maw will be blocked in for RD. And it's also going to be a Tahm Kench alongside it as well. So JD are definitely meeting BLG in terms of scaling power, and also Kog'Maw will spike just a little bit sooner.
Still very terrifying late game composition, and while I do think that super late game JD already have the edge with the Kog'Maw Azir combo that they've built up, but it's still the fact that they're even willing to meet BLG there, who have actually a holistically better, well-rounded composition. They've got good mid-game bridging power, they now have the early game power of the Jarvan, and the late game potential of the Xayah. So I feel it's a bit backwards. Again, we've kind of talked about like the nerves. This is almost a must-win for JD if they want to secure that playoff spot, if they want to get on the right foot going back into intra-conference play. So maybe they're feeling nervous. You don't want to mess up a best of 3 by trying to gamble in the early game and having it burn you. but they might be a little bit too passive here.
Well, that's the problem against BLG. If you start letting mentality get into your head if you're a team facing them right now and say, well, we don't really want to risk on an early game blitz because we're not confident in being able to finish them off during like the 20 to 25 minute mark, then you go back onto BLG's grounds, and while you have more opportunities to win, you give BLG an opportunity to win because they are a team who only operates well in the mid and late game team fights. So now it's kind of BLG have been given an out.
And they've also been given a great composition that can answer the Kog'Maw. The fact that they have so much backline threat between the Jarvan and the Ornn.
Yep, so we'll take a look at these compositions, but we just heard that EDG and LGD have just started their third game as well, so we'll try and keep you updated on that matchup as we progress through our own third game in this best of 3 between BLG and JD Gaming.
Who would have thought 2018, LGD and EDG going the distance right now. Intruder, the starting jungler for LGD, so them themselves trying to mix it up. While BLG, we haven't seen Mole or Chieftain crop up this series, staying true to Athena, and he has really been the difference maker. I know AJ got MVP in game number 2, but for me, Athena has been the guy that's pretty much put BLG back off of life support.
For sure, and Athena came back swinging for sure, especially in this first game, and it was on Talia no less, which he'll have in this third game. He was landing flick after flick and onto multiple people. That triple flick in the mid lane team fight was definitely memorable. We'll see if he can do it once again in his third game to try and bring BLG off the brink and give them another win today as we get into our third and final game of the evening and this best of 3 between BLG and JD Gaming. I'm shocked that guy still has a vocal cord, but he's still trucking.
Get him up here. We need more casters.
Sub him in.
Yes, it wouldn't be a BLG game without some strange anime signs. That's Jin Zhao.
Oh, it's Jin Zhao. There was one earlier that was Amazing Jay, because he always has his... I think they just print it out because it's like a meme on Weibo right now.
Well, the joke is how handsome AJ is. It's a mean joke. I think AJ is very handsome. And he would tell you himself as well.
Well, he also memed himself, but... Yeah, they also have now put him on an anime girl. So
my favorite AJ joke is he's from Hong Kong and he speaks Cantonese. He doesn't speak well, he speaks Mandarin, but not very well. Yeah. And they constantly tease him and they say that the Koreans can speak better Mandarin. Like Rookie speaks Mandarin better than AJ does.
Yeah, well, Cantonese and Mandarin is a very different language. As I'm taking a look at the keystones.
Glacial Augment coming up on the Tahm Kench, so looking for that rundown maneuver.
Oh, yes. Good old build. It's going to be Ares again on the Gnar into the top lane. And Amazing Jay is actually opposite towards the Grasp of the Undying on the Ornn as well.
Lick him in the bush.
Who knows who the other team is? I don't actually... They're both trying to cheese each other. Bro's going to jump in, land a double knockup. Jintao's going to get a bunch of time to wail on the AD carriers. Mao will have to spin him back out to return fire now with the Bioarcane Barrage. And it looks like BLG, they were the winners of that trade.
Yeah, couldn't take the lick because he had to have the immediate...
Devour.
Yeah, reposition for the Kog'Maw there. You weren't going to win, but I think I've seen this before.
Oh, yeah, maybe even earlier this series, and that's going to force the flash out from Yagao. It's actually giving the Clint special.
The SKS special right now. Give him the Gouda. This time around, he's got river walking, so he's going to be doing that maneuver over and over again. This guy will be flying through the river in no time.
Yep. This is really any jungler in the LPL you just give Jarvan to, they'll probably just do that. Like we saw it in Clid in game 1, we see it as SKS in game 3. It's like, well, they'll just do it. He's also gone for Sorcery second, going towards Water Walking, it looks like.
And now Road and Mao are paying the price for losing control of this creep wave. It is to be expected, though. It's Rakan and Xayah. It's what they're known for in the LPL. Team WE used to have the mentality that if you picked Xayah and Rakan, you automatically won lane. That there was nothing the enemy team could do against you. Now, the tables have turned on that that prediction,
Indeed.
but still holds true for a lot of LPL teams.
And you did it too. You called him Road and not RD. I did that last game because there's a Road in this game, but RD is also abbreviation of
It
Road.
looks like Gerd. He's like, I'm Gerd.
I'm Gerd or I'm Road, and there's also Road, but it's RD.
So RD is from the LMS.
He is.
He used to play on the Logitech Snipers. He is a veteran player. He's known for being a very frontline, aggressive playing ADC. But we have the quote from AHQ. They preferred to play on, even though Clement personally thinks that RD was more consistent because they felt that on was a better and bigger playmaker. So RD, get together, get the playmaking going for JD, and show AHQ that they were wrong to let you slip away.
Now, we've already seen these runes. We don't need to see them again. but we can also go
You
to
don't
it
want
again if you
the
want.
30-minute biscuit special where the runes pop up?
Hey, we could, but I mean, we literally just saw this, guys. But,
Hold on.
Hey, we'll talk about it
He's
again.
got River walking. That means he can
I'm
just
getting a weird
gank
sense of
mid lane
deja
again.
vu here.
Yeah, so is Azir, who doesn't have flash still.
Yeah, that's true. Can't really push out in his mid lane, and now he has to look on his left and his right. He's actually got a nice little ward down there on his
Like I said,
bush.
LPL is just a roller coaster. You get buckled in. Sometimes you see the drops, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get the same rune page over again. There we go. We found the right button.
Hey, okay, so taking a look at Rhodes.
What is that?
page.
Second wind and bone plate from the resolve tree?
Yes.
Pretty standard. What's the word I'm looking for? Pickup in the bone plate there for Rakan. It's almost pretty much mandatory, especially when you take melee into melee.
Also,
it's gonna help you out of the trades there.
Yeah, if you go resolve, you're probably taking boom plating.
Every time, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of good.
But this is interesting that it's a Rakan that's not taking Unsealed Spellbook, because that's been the standard in the LPL, because they like to get frisky with their summoner spell usage, even though the Unsealed Spellbook has had tweaks on 8.4. So going for a bit more of that poking damage and feeling confident that since it is kind of a technical melee versus melee, that he does have the advantage with having the Q available, as well as the Xayah pushing power. So more creeps in front of you means that your Q is probably going to connect more often than the licking tongue maneuver from Tahm Kench.
Indeed, indeed. We'll be able to get that advantage in the bottom lane. We'll see. But I'm looking at both of the junglers who are orbiting the middle lane. SKS is waiting. He's been there for like 15 seconds now.
I feel like Azir's Warring Kingdom skin looks like he's wearing a ridiculous hat.
Well, he's probably going to get knocked off him in a second, so I get to take a look at it.
I don't know. He definitely knows this is up.
Here's the Predator. FLICKR, gonna miss it. Yagao saving his shifting stance to back away.
And he's just bleeding out CS right now. He's kept it pretty even for the best part of it. Also has a big wave pushing into him, but he's just giving away potential to poke, potential to trade, and here we go.
Yeah, another trade in the bottom lane. Mao takes so much damage out from Jin Zhao. He has to flash away in this one. Rhodey even came down with the Ignite.
Rode showcasing that he is a very confident Rakan player, and Jin Zhao also very confident on that Xayah, so showcasing why they put such high priority on securing this duo in their final game of this series.
And SKS was coming down towards the bottom lane, see if he can put the final nail in the coffin, an RD and a Mao, but not going to happen in the end. We're back towards his own jungle, and also Clid was there just in case he decided to go all in, so it's going to even up, but still the pressure is going over towards the BLG's bottom lane. And again, I do question, JD's idea in the competition right here. It's like they are looking to try and meet BLG later on into the game.
Pretty clear what the idea is. I just don't know if I really agree with the idea.
Yeah.
But if they survive the lane, they will outscale. I do want to talk about Clid and SKS. He is spotted out by this ward right now, but I actually feel Clid has just frankly out-jungled SKS at pretty much every opportunity throughout this series. He's always on the correct counter gank. He's always, he's in the area taking Krug camp when the threat comes down for his bottom lane, so he's just reacting very well to his laners. And again, Clid's Korean. It took a couple of splits to get that communication to work on a multilingual team. Looks like he's had enough time in the country, and he's fitting in just fine.
Technically, you could say BLG is a multilingual team with Amazing J in the top lane.
They used to have 3 languages on their team because they had 2 Koreans, and then they had a Voidless and AJ. And a Voidless was also Cantonese and didn't speak any Mandarin.
Oh,
so
wow.
when Aimee went to Worlds, BLG, formerly known as Aimee, AJ had to translate what the jungler was saying, relay it to the Chinese members of the team, and then it had to get translated by Athena into Korean to be relayed to Rode. And they made it to Worlds!
Yeah, and they say
they're
communication
like in Morse
matters
code
in League
over
of
there.
Legends. At that point, you would just invent your own language, It's just like, what's
if
find
I
a middle
ping
ground.
forward, I'm going in.
And if I question mark ping you, I'm flaming you. That is the universal language of.
See, I just think the teams get along that much easier. It's so much harder to be toxic to each other when you can't talk the same language.
I mean, isn't that what happened with Starhorn Royal Club back in the day as well? Like, none of those guys could talk to each other.
Uzi and Zero can't talk to each other, so the relationship remains intact.
Yeah. There you go.
No,
Maybe
Zero
that's the
actually
secret.
used to be the buffer for Uzi. The team would be like, is he ready to move? And Zero would be like, sir, are you ready to go mid lane? No, I'm farming this wave. He's not ready to move. Over. The package is in transition.
Back to you.
Back to this game.
Back to this game where Athena is farming it out. And, I mean, that's pretty much going to be like the early game right here from both of these two teams because they are looking at scaling. That's the point we were getting at is that
it's going to be a
JD
slow, quiet early game.
Yeah, we're going to have an intermission here. So if you want to come back in around 20 minutes. We promise there will be action.
Where there will be action, though, is continuously in the jungle. BLG have made it very known that they are all about this mid laner. In fact, they're also pulling their support because they want to punish Yagao, and they feel like they have enough CC with the Flick and the Jarvan to do so on the Azir. And even if it doesn't translate into immediate ganks in the mid lane, it is going to translate into pressure into Klid's jungle.
And at the same time, there is a dragon that we're fighting over at the early game here as well, as they have the ocean. So no more of those cloud shenanigans. The teams will probably want this, at least for the laning phase, since we'll probably be in a somewhat extended laning phase here for both of the two teams. So Cloud Dragon is definitely going to help either team out if they secure it.
Here we go. Dun-dun. Dun-dun. I don't know what he thinks is going to happen here. He actually expects that SKS is in the area. He thinks he's going to get a counter gank off because RD and Mao have to overextend to force the wave in before they can get their back. And so it leaves them exposed for a gank. So Klid's actually here just to hold their hand.
Pretty much. And now Klid's going to walk back into his jungle. Mao's going to hold off hitting this ward until he's gone past.
Just taking the kids to school, being a good soccer mom. I want a minivan Skarner skin now.
That would be excellent. It would be like Cat Bus, but it's a scorpion.
Oh, Cat Bus would be excellent. Yep. I like where your head's at.
Always game for some Ghibli. Athena's walking towards the bottom lane, or I guess
Ghibli
sliding.
game strong.
Yeah. Athena, what's he looking for? He's got the level 8, so of course he has the ultimate. SKS also moving to the bottom lane, and unfortunately, Klid was ahead of his time, because now the gank comes into the bottom lane, the double knock-up, the double stun, the double everything, and Mao, he's going to protect RD to the very end, but Cataclysm will finish off the poor little Cogmore. 2 kills to BLG.
And losing the teleport over that exchange as well is really going to sting. Cooldown is coming back up relatively quickly here, but like you said, Klid was just a little bit early to the call. They had vision that the rotation was coming from BLG, so just huge miscommunication from JD across the map.
They had the right idea, wrong timing, and BLG moving towards the first tower of the game. And also, I actually don't remember the last time ever I've said BLG have an advantage in the early game.
They've got the gold lead, boys, and now they're going to rotate and start setting up their proper lane assignments here, swapping their duo up into the top side, and BLG, they could possibly run away with the early game here. And again, it's on the back of Athena. He's the guy who gets a nice wall in here, locks them in, forces a very early flash from Jin Zhao, which means that when the Jarvan ultimate comes in, there's nothing he can do.
I mean, A, very good that BLG is ahead and managed to pick up the first tower and have advances in the early game, but B, boy, we haven't seen them do this before, so I actually don't know how they play from ahead. I actually don't know if they can go from objective to objective and set up a good play to knock down the early towers and snowball the advantage.
Yeah, I was going to say that they were going to go back to the top side, but they like walked mid as if they were going to go top side, and now they're immediately responding to the hard push. So it could just be a back timing issue from AJ. He doesn't have his teleport. Used it in the last case scenario, and maybe he just doesn't want to miss this giant wave that Gnar has built up, although I can't quite see the wave. If it's big, then that would explain it. Because AJ's like, no, you will wait your turn. Go down bottom, reset the wave, they have to back up because they have no tower, and then we will swap.
That would make sense. I'm curious to see what BLG do when they're ahead, because I just haven't seen it before.
Well, they're using the window that they don't have to put their duo in the top side to take an Ocean Dragon, so I'm already really happy with this. And like I said, this is just all new to us. BLG almost never get any sort of lead in the early game, so using it well. AJ gets time to farm. I believe he's had 2.5 waves pushed into him. They pick up the Ocean Drake. Now they're going top.
Yeah, they're in a good place, and you have to remember, many of the bans went towards Amazing J, and he's essentially just gone on and just tried to stabilize in this lane. Yes, he's down some farm, but 2 waves is like nothing at 12 minutes right here. It's significant, but it's not going to end the game right here. And Amazing J, he's done his job. He's been forced onto a champ he didn't perhaps want to play, and now the early game has gone well.
This is a bit ambitious here.
Trying off this, trying to go towards this Herald.
They have to be really careful. All of JD's members are coming in, and it's also forced AJ to not go bottom and instead walk over to this fight. This could be a possible 5v5.
I mean, hey, BLG are ahead.
Look
they can
at
accelerate the
Jin
timeline.
Zhao is, though. He has to walk all the way around the back of the pit, so they need to be patient here. He's now committed back towards the top side, and I think, that's going to be the white flag of, guys, I really want these scrapes. I don't have time to deal with this. Can we just hold off on the aggression?
And both teams pretty much go to the gentleman's agreement of backing away here. So I think they'll go back to the mid lane, clear this one out. The dual lane has moved to the top lane, now pushing in the tower. And actually, RD and Mao are actually going to be a little late to the top lane, so this might be a chance to chip some damage onto this tower here for Jin Zhao and Road.
The scary thing is that they don't have vision. It's hard to say. I think they might have just gotten vision of Skarner on that ward that just died out, and that's why they're so confident to approach the tower. But otherwise, they have to expect that Clid would be on the top side of the map, and to give a lot of respect here, and it should just be, you know, pushing farm into Kog'Maw's mouth.
Yeah, there is no setup there from Amazing J, because of course Ornn was never going to push into Nas, so it's a good half of the tower's health going to be taken away in that one push though, so BLG will be able to play off that though. Mao in with the Abyssal Void is going to appear right next to Jin Zhao, but perfect timing on the ultimate in from the Rakan will lock up the Tam Kench. Actually, Clid, he didn't take the ride.
I really like the idea though from JD.
I like the idea, but there was a good response coming in from Road, so he neutralizes the play. In the end, nothing comes of it, but this is kind of the X factor I think that JD do bring, you know, into games against some of the teams that are around them in not only their own conference, but also just in the league, is that they do have inventive plays, you know, that does separate them from the pack. Yeah,
they are a pretty smart team, and speaking of X Factor, here comes Yagao as they're bringing up more members here to just try to force this tower down, and a very late response from BLG. Athena and SKS are on the way. And here comes the play. Here comes Ornn.
Multiple teleports coming out here. He's already arrived. Sounds the Ornn horn. Lands the knockup onto 2 right here. Skarn's going to have to run away. SKS is also backing it up. And now he's actually kind of in 2 minds about what he wants to do. Has to better flash, and Road just loses all of his health.
That was such a messy fight. I was confused about which way it was going to go because it felt like everyone was split up. Big Jarvan ultimate. But in the end, it is the Rakan that's picked up. And now a lot of key ultimates down. They should be able to approach this tower.
Cannon Minion is dead, however, so RD will get a nice bit of chip damage there, but not knock over the tower, despite it being very low.
They've committed so much to this, and they almost have the Mega Gnar. JD, there's no way that they give this up. They're going to force the tower down and then possibly rotate in a Rift Turtle, at least have priority over it, that they can grab the Scuttle Crab before resetting, which is why BLG are sprinting towards the objective to try to get some vision there.
Yeah, they're also moving towards the mid lane here as well for Athena to try and get some damage onto the mid lane tower, so the tower will die on the top side. Zoom and Mao have already gone back to base with their teleports, and we can see that engage one more time.
It just, you don't know which direction it's going to go. You like Jarvan, that's actually pretty good. Then you have these massive parallel lines that come dividing across the screen. Talia Wall, Ornn ultimate don't really connect either way. Both of them are dropped with very little follow-up. And then unfortunately, Road's like, I thought we were going in.
BLG do have priority over the Herald, however, and Road has also just found Skarner, who managed to step up. Moving towards this one, Mao gets the gobble up onto his jungler, and Nasi's still thinking about moving in here onto Jin Zhao. Throws out the Feather Storm and looking for the Blade Caller to return. Flashes and gets the snare down onto the encroaching members of JD. So that is a successful Herald.
If I'm the coach from JD, I quickly circle this play, and I say, we're going to have a discussion about this. And I say, there's no reason for you to give up the Rift Herald at this point. You actually didn't stagger your backs correctly. They left the tower to be taken by Kog'Maw, which is smart because a couple of them start their backs, they've just picked up a team fight, they've got a lot of gold, they need to reset grab key itemization because they want to start going towards the Rift Herald, but they all backed at the same time. All you had to do is stagger 1 or 2 other people, possibly the support as your extension, to come down and to guard the Herald, or at least dissuade and give your team enough time that certain members could find the backs and you could rotate, take shifts back up into the area. Instead, they all take their backs. BLG just immediately run it back from being stomped on the top side of the map and grab the Herald for free.
So right now, it's 1 tower to 1 tower, but theoretically the tempo play here is for BLG, since they will be able to place down a Herald and try and knock down another tower, topside or mid.
Yeah, and the big thing is that they can use it mid lane. We've seen teams struggle again and again, especially against Azir compositions, that cracking the mid lane tower really throws a wrench in game momentum. And so that's why I would want BLG to use it. Don't allow Azir to just hold a position forever and stall out your composition, or allow this Kog'Maw and Azir composition to scale. Because if you can't crack mid, then you lose a lot of access over the Baron plays to continue to magnify and amplify the game.
Zoom chasing down onto a main gen in the bottom lane. Clid thinking about going in, but SKS is responding. Ornn comes in, looking for the knockup. Dodged away from. Flash coming out from Zoom.
But no one is mid!
Everyone's just abandoned the mid lane.
They could flank here though, because Jarvan ultimate's here, as is the quickness.
Yeah, Road has his ultimate and the flash, but yeah, that will be the disengage from JD Game. Seeing it coming from a mile away.
This is such a tug of war. It's actually very interesting to watch how both teams are kind of reacting to each other's positioning. If Clid had stepped forward and placed some deeper vision, maybe they would have gotten some chip damage on that structure, but unfortunately JD were too blind on the bottom side of the map to really commit there, because they could have just exited towards the top side of the map.
So in the end, no engage gets to happen, but JD smartly back away, with junglers passing in the night. They were both thinking about it. We're like, we both have ultimates to engage on each other.
I feel like one of these, though, was like a battleship. Like, SKS was the battleship, and Clid there was like a little speedboat.
Yeah, let's get me out of here. But
He like sees the battleship. He's like, I really shouldn't be here, but you're confused. I'm confused, and we're just gonna let it go.
Yeah, there was a moment though where the
he thought about it.
Yeah, he did. But
do I ult this?
He could. Do I have any teammates nearby? Not really. But now JD group up. They move towards the dragon. Talia wall.
Look at Road.
Splits it up. Yagao is completely split from his team right here.
Oh, Road wants it.
He might actually just let this Cloud Dragon go, but look for the fight instead. Flag drag onto the jungler. SKS. He gets the smite down. Klid, however, secures the Baron, or the Dragon rather, but will lose his life for it.
And they lose massive position. The Rift Child is already down, so they've prepared this one for later. And it is a long way to walk for JD to try to save this play. Good Tom Kinch ultimate to get Kog'Maw some of the way there, but he's half health and there are key ultimates up. If he steps forward, SKS will just delete him.
Yeah, Herald's still here, and Zoom is pushing in the bottom side without teleport for another couple seconds. The tower may be falling. Another Ornhorn comes in for the zone more than anything. Mal, clutch Devour coming in to save RD's life. But the tower is down, trying to respond with Zoom in the bottom side, however.
Just a huge misstep for JD, but great capitalization from BLG. They are looking much cleaner in game number 3 in terms of their macro rotations. Kind of had the early game get away from them a little bit, but the composition has come online. They have great mid-game power spikes behind Athena, as well as where Jarvan is right now in his itemization. He's doing pretty ridiculous damage for the squishier members because not a lot of resistances have come out, so abusing that power.
Same question as game 1, though. Can they push it in fast enough against JD Gaming? Because it almost got to the point where Yagao's Azir, same thing in game 3. I feel like history is repeating itself. Could just win a late game team fight against them. BLG, it took them 3 Barons to eventually finish off JD.
And that's why the mid lane tower is so important, because it's about that Baron. It gives them access to it. So all of the outer towers are down except for the top lane. They prioritize that one before. So that dragon mistake, again, if I'm the coach of JD Gaming, I point there and I say, this is where you lost the game. Because by losing the mid lane tower, you lost the ability, or your #1 stall tactic, to allow your late game composition to come online. If you hadn't committed for an ocean dragon of all things,
then
you
maybe
would still be fine.
It turned out differently, exactly.
I don't even think it was an ocean. I think it was a cloud.
The last one was a cloud. The first one was an ocean, which went for free.
They did that
BLG.
for a cloud
That was
dragon?
a cloud dragon. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You did that for dirty dishes.
Not even remotely worth it.
Because now you've lost access to the Baron. It means that BLG, with their composition, are going to walk over, clear out your vision, have that much more access to snowball the game.
Sad times. BLG have complete control, as you can see. There are a couple wards around there, though, by JD.
Here comes...
Oh, this ultimate comes in. Nice double knockup once again on to Mao and the charm. Mao is completely dead. Yagao walks in and Yagao walks out. Ornhorn looking for the knockup. Blasts of the way, still into the line of the big ram, which is going to hit Klid, trying to back away, but he's being chased down by Amazing J and everybody on BLG. 3 kills.
I mean, it was a cool maneuver. I like seeing how the Rakan and the Talia come down at the same time. I think it's the right idea, but I feel like Road looked to his left and he sees the wall. He's like, he's forced to actually flash to get in front of it, trying to outrun a train right there. They do catch the jungler, though, and they should start rotating over to the Baron. Now, the key thing is that Zoom is still alive and Yagao are still alive. The Meganar, though, is not going to be available. But wow, they're actually going to respect it long enough. I was curious if they're going to start it. Yes, people just started to spawn. There is a Tom Kinch, so RD would get to that Baron pit faster than if he had to walk all the way there.
+1.
Very respectful from BLG.
Yeah. And there was also a big wave top lane, though, and bot lane. So it was also maybe just like, let's try and defend the mid lane tower here with Jin Jiao and Road.
I'm so used to LPL players just going.
But also remember, this is uncharted ground for everybody watching this game, because it's BLG ahead, and it's like, well, I just play this safe.
What do we do when we're ahead?
We just won another fight. I guess we'll clear the side waves. We'll get more golden solo laners.
AJ's like, okay, guys, we got to get back to base. We've got to set our defensive vision. We've got to clear out our jungle. He's like, no. We're actually in the lead right now.
We don't need to do that. we could just go to Baron. But yeah, it is respect coming out here because, of course, Mal could get to the objective very quickly. Don't want to risk anything. And BLG, that's actually pretty impressive. They're 3,000 gold ahead right here. They have the advantage in terms of kills. They've knocked down the towers in mid lane as well.
But that window, 3K ahead, I don't know if that's enough to outpace the Azir and the Kog'Maw. Yeah, they've got the lead right now, but this is not a sprint. This is a marathon that we're being set up for, and Azir and Kog'Maw will win that marathon.
Eventually, yeah. But again, BLG, it's down to them to try and end like they did in the first game. And while it took multiple Barons, this game is slightly different in that there is a doomsday coming at some point, you know? It's just like, start the clock, 20 minutes from now, T-minus 20 minutes.
And then it just means that you need to play your composition perfectly. They do have good answers against a Kog'Maw type of comp because they did get the Ornn, they do have the Recon, so their backline threat is really terrifying and it's very hard to stop. But, you know, why force yourself into a position where you have to play perfect, where you can't make any mistakes?
Once again, the wall comes in, but Amazing J has beaten the
Still
wall to Mao. Going to land the flick right here as well, and the Tam Kench will eventually fall right here, but he is taking a bunch of damage. Can he continue the chase though? Nice knockup onto Yagao. He blocks up this route using the wall of soldiers and Zoom. He's looking for the chase. He almost has Mega Gnar.
It's unfortunate that BLG are... So here's the thing. They want to fight in these choke points because they want to make use of the quickness and the Ornn ultimate, and they're doing a good job of that, as well as Xayah Feather Spread, but they also don't want to fight in the choke points because of Azir and Kog'Maw and Gnar. So it's kind of like a who gets to the punch first type of scenario. And that time around, it was BLG. They kind of got the quick hit and run pick. But these fights and choke points are really terrifying to either side because both these compositions want to fight in the jungle and not necessarily just the lane.
Yeah, it could go cataclysmically wrong for either team. In that case, it was just one pick, so it won't really turn into too much. Just a wave in the top side, no tower. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds as well, so we may shift our focus momentarily. We'll have a timeout over the Baron and then look towards this Dragon before resuming hostilities around the area. But BLG are moving a couple of members around the area. And the Assist Me ping comes down as well from the red side, so it looks like they are looking towards this Dragon. Yeah,
they're going to give away the Dragon so they can clear out the vision around the Baron. Which I don't mind. It is a Mountain Dragon, so it's one of the more proactive dragons. Still incredibly valuable, but only valuable if you're using it. Whereas Ocean and Cloud are like passive dragons. Yeah. You're going to get that buff regardless of, you know, if you're hitting a tower or not.
Sure. Also a major objective. But that will also help them nuke down a Baron, so... if they are looking towards that and trying to race JD to an objective, it definitely will allow them to help out as they once again move towards the area and probably just clear out all the wards and all the hard work that JD had just put down.
But what it does is it buys JD enough time that they can reset their side lane map. So even though they're going to lose some of this vision that they've placed around the Baron, it's still time that, you know, they wandered up to the bot side, they wandered up to the top side, they've pushed the waves forward, and then BLG are going to have to respond to that, and then they take turns, they wander back into the Baron pit, and they place the vision again. But hold on. We've got a plot twist in the novel. I thought Road was going to go for the engagement.
Yeah, me too. It looked very scary just for a second, but, you know, RD was playing just far enough back where Mao was around the corner to gobble him up if something wrong happened. And once again, we see these 5-man stacks staring each other down, but Mao is completely separated from the pack, has to flash over the wall. It's going to be a key summoner as the game goes on because he won't be able to get the buy one, get one free flash on himself and the carry.
A lot of eyes need to be on Athena. He's positioning very far back in these fights because he's trying to find the correct angle to separate or trap Jingdong with his ultimate. So keep your eyes peeled. He's currently on the top side of the Baron pit.
Let's go in.
He's looking for it.
And the Impale as well. Amazing J's already low, and he is actually just dead. Ornn did not look tanky whatsoever. Athena with the spell shield and a kite back as well from Jin Jiao. But Zoom in a 1 versus 2 is kiting 2 members of BLG back, both of the carries no less, and they find themselves a second kill onto Road.
I'm going to call that a strong, disastrous wall from Athena. He actually locked a lot of his team out and on the wrong side of it. He basically locked himself on a wall with 4 members of JD, and the Gnar flashed back over.
Unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
That's one word for it.
Yeah, 2
He's
kills.
like, I've got him. I've separated the team. Oh, God.
Disaster. And that, unfortunately, is the problem with no damage ultimates. They can go the other way.
So Clid, he picked up the Spire, he pops the Predator, he is zipping, and then here comes the wall, and that's the issue, is that he basically locked himself, the 2 carries, away from his team. SKS is locked on the other side of the wall, is basically, I guess I'm not wanted, I guess I'm not needed here, and just pieces out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just allowed Gnar as well to just walk up to 2 carries, and it's like, well, no one's going to help you, so I'll just walk at you. And BLG lose the fight. No Baron went down, however, so it's not super bad for BLG. They will still be able to resume position.
I'm going to say that it's pretty super bad.
It's pretty super bad?
Because you're still looking at an Azir Kog'Maw composition.
Oh, yeah,
the mid lane tower went down. You need to use that advantage that the leverage over the side of the map gives you. But JD have actually just been doing such a great job managing their side waves that they're never losing priority or tempo across the map. Like, they're almost never out of position. They're not pulling the same mistakes that we saw from BLG in game number 2, where they just wouldn't be in front of a tower and they would just lose it for free when they had every available option to hold the structure. So...
pretty super bad.
It's not great. It's a very scary composition. If I was BLG's coach, I'd just be like white knuckling it backstage, like, okay, what are our options now? We need to hit the god tier road. This is why we prioritize Rakan so high in draft fates, because I know you can hit that quickness. If you get that 5-man ultimate on top of SKS's Jarvan, we'll win anyway. But if that turns into your win condition, that feels bad.
Yeah, it's basically just trying to rely on like a thresh hook landing, and if that doesn't if the hook doesn't land, then unfortunate. Athena also getting caught in the mid lane. Probably not optimal, though he will be able to back it up, and Road is also here, the team able to react, but Clid is always hunting on this Skarner, trying to chase someone down, get an impale off, get a pick, and then move towards that all-important purple one.
Doesn't have his flash, though, so that denies a lot of Skarner's threat, although it's about halfway back up, so very soon Clid is going to be much more terrifying on that pick, and it's going to mean a lot more. Again, looking at the itemization of both Azir and Kog'Maw, it's they're going to hit real hard.
Yeah, that was just third item finished as well by Yagao after that last recall. 2.5 items on RD as well.
So here's our win conditions. A sustained elongated fight that goes longer than 10 seconds, JD are going to win. A massive wombo combo from BLG, and they'll win. And they're trying to burn the Baron, but here comes Kench.
Kench comes in along with Clid as well, zoning away. And it's actually just going to be the straight 5v5, but a 3 versus 5. However, Jin Zhao slightly split from his team right now. Road jumps away. He's already dead. Jin Zhao chasing after, and that's already a win from JD Gaming.
5. It's been 10 seconds. They won the fight. They do still have their Jarvan available to them, however, so they can't immediately turn onto the Baron for threat of steal. They want the chase.
Zoom does get zoned away from taking a full volley of rocks to the face, courtesy of Athena. But JD, they won. They took out the support, and now they have the minion wave mid lane, and they have the potential to move towards this Baron.
I actually think it was a good disengage from BLG. They've regained a lot of their health. This is risky from JD. I actually don't know if I 100% support this play, especially with this team's pass with Baron.
Oh, we'll see if they actually just turn this one around and turn it into a fight instead of committing to the Baron. In fact, they have decided to just back away straight up. Athena, I'm going to try and cut them off, see if we can find a sneaky pick on the backside.
Woo! Again, if we're the coaches, that was a white knuckle moment. That was a JD are the Dignitas of the LPL. They always throw at Baron, and now they've lost tempo. They overcommitted to it. Clid, you have to make the hero play, and this is going down quick.
3,000 HP. Mao's actually just saying, nope, you don't go anywhere near that one. But hang on, you just let me die as well. 2 picks for BLG, and they can turn back towards the Baron. RD, yes, he's very strong, but Zoom, he's nowhere near getting Meganon right now. Flicking away Yagao, big down threat, but the Baron is almost down. Zoom has to walk it back, and RD, he's caught by himself, getting chased down. Jin Zhao gets the kill. Ornhorn comes in, chasing on to the Zoom as well. Athena, flashes out of it, does not get killed by Azir. Takes him in the 1 versus 1 in that team fight.
Baron is the MVP of that entire fight. I feel like that was an extended 4-minute engage between both teams, both tug of war over the Baron. It must have done tons of damage to both sides, but in the end, it is BLG that come out on top, and I do have to give credit to Athena. He started it the first time with a really well-placed wall, had a second one that time around, they turned to burn it, and then he has the 1v1 kill against Yagao. And Yagao was in base. The reason why the second Baron attempt came out of Bilibili is because they knew Azir wasn't around. He took the back, and they immediately burned it.
Yeah, Yagao, unfortunately, was in the wrong position at the wrong time. And Athena also finds the 1v1 mid-team fight, able to beat him out as well. Athena really just stepped it up today, just straight up. On the Talia pick especially has just been exceptionally good. And maybe even finding BLG their second win today, which would secure the best of 3.
And again, we have to give credit to the fact that BLG put subs behind SKS and Athena. If you had to point to any members on BLG where you needed them to step up, it always was the jungle in mid lane position. Yeah, Jin Zhao has his inconsistencies, but we know it's there and he's not given a lot of resources. So how good is he really if you centered a team around him? Here we go.
Road actually just walks into the wrong bush. He walked into the wrong neighborhood, and there was a Skarner there.
Classic Road.
But
most
it's fine.
gold and most damage of any support, also most deaths.
Yeah, we're still going to get the tower on the bottom side, but the fact that we don't have our support anymore on one of our major points of engage means that BLG will not be able to force a fight here, and it's also JD just buying a little bit of extra time.
It does mean that JD will survive this Baron unless they make a dramatic mistake and pretty much just throw away a team fight in the next 2 minutes. Otherwise, they will survive this. It does mean that the next time around gets that much harder, so shortening the window that they have to afford mistakes.
Oh, JD chasing. That was a Meganar inside of Tam Kench, ready to go. Slams him against the wall. Comes in with the ground pound, but SKS will come in the re-engage. Kills Mao. Ornhorn comes out, and BLG, they are turning this. Clid's low. Double knock him onto RD. The bot laners are dead. Swept under the rug. Athena comes in there with the ultimate. And Clid flashed over the wall, but he's the last remaining member of JD Gaming. That went horrifically wrong for us.
And remember what I said? If they died within the next 2 minutes, guess what? They just lost the series.
That was not even 10 seconds after you just said that, Frost. Massive mistake coming in from JD. They thought they had it. They thought they had the 5 versus 4, but unfortunately not. And now the fact that Rogue comes back in with not a single casualty. BLG, they'll come out here. They'll come out swinging, and Clid, what's the Skarner to do in this situation other than try and stall, try and kill the minions, try and prolong the game, allow his team to come back up? It's not going to happen. The Platypus comes out swinging, and BLG, they take the 2-1 victory.
Showcasing that the West still has some heavy hitters. BLG, 2016 World Representatives, showing that they do deserve to be a third-place team in their conference, that they're not just at the gate of playoffs, and they take down JD pretty handedly.
They did great Game 1 and Game 3 performance out for them, and while the weaknesses were still there the early game, JD didn't decide to take control of it. They didn't try and blitz them in the early game, tried to meet them on the late game field, but BLG miraculously pick up an early game advantage, move it into the mid game, and finish in the mid game. I
mean, it's really easy to point at the mistakes of BLG. They're a very telegraphed team. Say what we will, we do it all the time, but they also know exactly who they are.
Yep.
BLG know what their strengths are, they know what their weaknesses are, and they do it very well. So if they're a platypus, they're the best damn platypus in the world.
And BLG, they'll take the win here today. And it really does take a good team to identify that, hey, we're not good at something, we can try and put a band-aid over some of our weaknesses, but we can just double down on what we're good at. And that's what they did here today, and managed to beat JD, a team who had an extremely strong start to the split. In fact, you know, they were the chosen ones, and BLG just put them in their place.
And unfortunately for JD, it's just an experience thing. It's just a growth thing. Again, if I'm standing behind this team, if I'm the coach for them, I'm still proud of everything that you're seeing, because you do see, you know, flashes of brilliance come from them. And maybe that is part of the reason why they swapped up from Loken into RD, trying to get some of that veteranship back onto the roster, because that roster is so young, and that's where a lot of these mistakes come from. It's, you know, not having the patience, not having the experience, and not having the foresight to make the correct call in a high-pressure situation. So JD, they're only going to get better with time. It's very promising what we're seeing right now. I don't think that this is their plateau at all. I think that they have a much higher ceiling. But they were against one of the most experienced teams in the LPL against BLG. They know exactly who they are, and they beat them exactly how they do.
Exactly, and they will take the win today, moving to 7-6. We can see 33 minutes right here, just taking a look at some of the damage as well. Jin Zhao, 23,000 damage. Athena doing 20,000 damage as well. Like, there's also people on the team stepping up significantly, and one of those guys was definitely Athena.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though. If you gave Jin Zhao, you know, a Kahlua and a Karma mid, or if you gave him a Mako and all of these ganks bot lane, if you gave him a Karsa, he could shine. If you give him those resources, he shows it right there. But unfortunately, he's on a team where everything goes up to the top lane. Like you said, special shout out to Athena. I would be shocked if he didn't get the MVP. That last team fight, that wall separated both carries, Kog'Maw and Desir, from doing anything in that team fight, and then SKS finished it off.
Yeah, he deserves at least one MVP in this one, because the first one went to Amazing J. But we'll see if that happens. We're going to send it over to the downstairs to take a look at the series.
Thank you, guys. But before we break down those matches, just want to remind everyone back at home that although that was the last set for tonight, we still have a show match between some of the legacy and legend players of the LPL coming up next. Now let's break down this game, Clement, because the damn platypus won.
Well, look, in nature, evolution means that you're adequate. It doesn't mean that you're efficient. It means you're adequate. You can survive your environment. That's what it means, okay? So, good. I'm glad they won, and I just want to talk about why from starting from the champion select. You're staring at me very uncomfortably.
I'm waiting for you to tell me why. I'm waiting for you to tell me why, Clement. Why starting from champion select?
Okay, we're just because that's where we always start. That's actually why. All right, but just going into this. All right, I like platypuses. Okay. Is that good enough for you?
It's good enough for me. Go straight to Champions League. What happened here between BLG and Jindong?
Big thing here is like the caster said, Jingdong went for BLG's strategy. They didn't want to go for the fast tempo, like the thing they're good at. They wanted to take away from BLG. And I think that has been a big theme in their games, but also a big reason why they lost Game 1 and Game 3. This is not a style that they're particularly comfortable in. You could see those Baron dances post 30 and post 40 minutes. They're not very good at it. They don't rotate back in time, and they don't secure vision well enough to really play the opposite composition.
Because if you flip the two team compositions, it seems a little bit more like their style. Like a Kog'Maw in the bottom lane, that's definitely something that BLG would probably play towards.
Yeah, that would be more of a BLG style comp, and I like what BLG did. To shore up their early game. the big thing about their early game was that SKS went Predator Jarvan. That's actually the first Predator Jarvan that we've seen in the LPL so far, and that netted them their first gank in the bot lane. Sure, Clid might have spotted him in early, but it didn't matter because he had Mobies and Predator, and he was able to reach the gank before Clid could even react. Now, that was a huge turning point because Jin Zhao got ahead so far in the team fights, and that negated a lot of Kog'Maw's power.
On top of that, we mentioned time and time again that someone needs to shut down Yakao.
Yes.
And Athena did a really good job of doing that in game number 3. Not necessarily through the laning phase alone, but he had a couple of really key team fights. One of them was around Baron, where he was able to separate the backline for JDG time and time again.
Yeah, especially the last fight was absolutely immaculate, and it really showed me that FLICKR does have a death note on her hand, because whatever she says, it just happens like 10 seconds later.
Oh, she's looking this way now. She agrees.
Yeah, but let's go from the first Baron fight here. This one is actually where Athena does mess up a little bit. Like the caster said, the wall actually separates their carries. They're in a very bad position. And it was just kind of a lack of foresight, and they didn't respect the Mobi Predators enough. Jingdong are able to get away with this team fight win, but on the following fights, Jingdong then tries to take Baron where they're low health. The other team has an Ocean Drake. They're able to circle around and just take the objective away from them. Big point that Jingdong has always missed, losing Barons.
And they were able to close out the final team fight as well quite decisively. And yes, you know, they lost road to a pick earlier on due to a nice pick coming in, but they played this team fight quite well.
Yeah, so I think the idea here was solid. They were just going to knock the carries back into the Thalia wall. However, the way BLG retreated was very intelligent. They backed off and left both Azir and Kog'Maw on the other side. No damage done in a 3-second window. Basically, their front lines were sent into the meat grinder to die, and they knew they had to try and salvage the situation. When in, too far gone, BLG picks up the series.
Yep, incredibly well played by BLG in that final match, and especially in game number 1 as well. We have to go back towards that. JDG looked like they were going to be able to control both game 1 and 2. Could have been a quick 2-0 for them, but instead BLG were able to hold on, and that's kind of become the identity of this team. Ever since they were IMA, they're known as a team that can wait to the late game, stall it out, and somehow the damn platypus always finds a win.
Well, I mean, there's still a species that's kicking and alive somewhere down in Australia.
Oh, but unfortunately for FLICKR, it's not going to be Athena that picks up MVP. It's SKS in the jungle that picks up MVP for that match.
Showing a lot of recognition for his ability to get on the backline and for his innovation on the Predator Jarvan so far. Takes a lot of his team's damage and gets good engages so far. This is a new SKS we're seeing. He's been mainly a herbivore type of jungler, not one that you really expect. Budget jungler? I wouldn't say that, but yes, he's been more of a herbivore. Does less ganks, is less aggressive overall, more about securing vision, but this time he changed his game style around to fit the team's opponents.
And it was a fantastic play coming from BLG. Game number 3, definitely the ball was in their court. They didn't have to stall anything out. They were making the proactive plays. It's good to see them adapting, so to speak, moving further in the LPL. But that's going to wrap up the final series here. Before we break down where the LPL currently stands, we are going to do it straight away anyway. I just wanted to remind everyone, this is not the end of the night. We still have one more match to come, which is going to be a show match between legacy players. We can take a look at how the LPL stands at the moment here.
Yeah, currently the big thing is Jingdong is sitting outside of playoff range at 6 and 7 behind Suning Gaming. Both of these are relatively new teams, but they're going to have to grow up fast if they want to see playoffs. On the western side, though, overall the standings don't look that good here. The wins and losses columns are a bit more equal. BLG still unable to take over W after W's recent surge.
But it kind of shows how crucial that last match was, because take a look at that. BLG and WE now 7 and 6. Fun plus Phoenix, the closest team to trying to break towards playoffs bracket, they're 5 and 8. That's 2 games of a buffer that BLG created for himself since cross-conference. On the flip side, JDG already have that buffer from LGD, but now Suning's a game ahead.
Yeah, but I do have to ask, W and BLG, do you want to fight against Suning or do you want to fight RNG? That's the big question and why it's so important, because the 4th place team is going to have to face RNG. Nobody wants that. They want Suning.
It could be Rogue Warriors, who knows? RNG have been looking impressive lately, so have Rogue Warriors. In the Eastern Conference, definitely a conference that we will be looking out for at the moment, Clement. And it's coming to the end of the cross-conference. We only have 1 day left, and the meta just changed so intensely. since we first saw the teams play against each other the first time around during regular conference play.
Yeah, we're seeing more of the variabilities. The mid lane support picks have been huge, especially the Sion pick right there. And also the bot lane, I think, has really shaken up. We're seeing two camps really develop. The ones that like the Zai, Rakan, and are willing to push aggressive lanes and gank more. And the other ones are like, which are saying, ganks are too dangerous. Let's play a more conservative and hyper scale.
Well, that's all the LPL matches that we have for today. We still have the show match to come after this. But first, let's take a look at what tomorrow's LPL matches are on. Because, as we said, this was the second last day of cross-conference. Tomorrow is the final day of cross-conference. And OMG have a difficult match going up against Rogue Warriors, followed by Snake taking on RNG.
Oh, tomorrow is so hype. OMG versus Rogue Warriors means that SMLZ has finally reached the final destination of his revenge tour. Now, this team kicked him out because he was not respectful enough to the organization, and they had some public clashings. Kicked because of that reason over to Rogue Warriors. But on the second match, we also have two very, very good teams. Possibly the best jungler clash we have so far, SOFM versus Karsa or MLXG.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, we might just finally get to see him smile, Clement.
Oh, yes, the
SLZ
revenge!
is able to get the revenge. Not only would that mean that all 4 players from Rogue Warriors that came together from different teams would have taken down their previous teams, but we may eventually see some emotion coming out from SMLZ. That's all the LPL matches that we have today. We are going to go to a quick break, but we do have the show match coming up. But first, let's get some thoughts from the players about the 5th year anniversary of the LPL.
作为一名资深 LPL 队员，
作为一个从 LPL 一开始就在这里打的0003号选手，
祝 LPL 5周年快乐！
我在 LPL 已经有3年多了吧
，LPL 也已经5岁嘛。
在这里恭喜 LPL 5周年生日快乐！
祝 LPL 5周年生日快乐！
我是 LPL 0007，祝 LPL 5周年生日快乐！我第一个冠军也是在 LPL 拿的吧，然后就是也算是一个特别特殊的一个回忆。
我在 LPL 祝甜甜过得很开心。
祝 LPL 5周年生日快乐！
希望 LPL 越来越好，
然后也希望我们队伍和我自己能够越来越强，
然后希望自己能打得越来越好吧。
大家好，我是洛言，感谢大家5年来的陪伴，祝 LPL 5周年快乐！